Now what we're going to discuss is the SOFAST method for loading, unloading, and clearing our weapon systems. This system is streamlined to allow you one method to load, unload, and clear all of your weapons in order to ensure weapon safety. I will discuss it with a rifle and I will discuss it with a pistol. You will notice there is a zero deviation from the way we load, unload, and clear our weapon systems. Number one, ensure my weapon is on safe. Number two, remove my source of feed. Number three, lock my bolt or slide to the rear. Visually observe extraction, ejection of the round. Number four, conduct a 3-point safety check. Chamber, magazine well, and bolt face. Number five, allow my bolt or slide to go forward and take a well-aimed shot. Rotate my selector switch to fire and fire. This is an additional safety measure to ensure that my weapon is clear. Half cock, rotate back to safe, close my dust cover. I can now store my weapon system. Moving on to the pistol. Tell me if there's any deviations from this. I take my pistol. The reason I take my pistol now is because the first weapon you clear is the weapon that you are in possession of. In this case, I was in possession of the rifle, so I cleared the rifle first. This is a secondary weapon. So what I'm going to do is, number one, ensure my weapon is on safe. With the Glocks have a trigger safety. So making sure that this weapon is on safe means keeping my finger outside of this trigger well. If you have a safety or decocking lever, right, you will rotate that safety switch to safe. Remove your source of feed, number two. Lock your bolt or slide to the rear, number three. Visually observe extraction or ejection of the round. 4. Conduct a 3-point safety check. Chamber, magazine well, and bolt face, ensuring that my muzzle is pointed in a safe direction. Allow my bolt or slide to go forward and take a well-aimed shot. This is an additional safety measure to ensure that my weapon is clear. Regardless if you're shooting shotguns, rifles, or pistols, use this technique because this will prevent you from having to learn 20 different ways of loading, unloading, and clearing your weapon systems. And I'm going to repeat them right now. You can use this for your training purposes in the future. Place your weapon on safe. Remove the source of feed. Lock my bolt or slide to the rear. Visually observe extraction or ejection of the round. Conduct a 3-point safety check. Chamber, magazine well, bolt face. Allow my bolt or slide to go forward and take a well-aimed shot. This is an additional safety measure to ensure that my weapon is clear. Let's talk about loading our weapon systems. At SOFAST, as in clearing our weapons, we utilize one technique for all weapon systems. The first thing that we want to do when loading our firearms is always load our secondary first. The primary reason for loading our secondary first is simply if we load our primary, we may forget to load our secondary. So with my secondary, ensure my weapon is on safe. Lock my bolt or slide to the rear, ensuring that I'm pointing it in a safe direction. insert my source of feed, release my bolt or slide, and visually observe chambering of a round. Holster my weapon. That's my secondary. My primary. Now that I'm moving up to my primary, I'm going to, number 1, ensure my weapon is on safe. Number 2, lock my bolt or slide to the rear. Number 3, insert my source of feed. Number 4, visually observe chambering of a round. You can conduct a press check, tap your forward assist to ensure that round is chambered, and close your dust cover. This weapon is now in its carrying configuration. Alright, now what we want to discuss is transfer of care of any weapon system that we're in possession of. Number 1, ensure that our weapon is on safe. Number 2, remove our source of feed. Number 3, lock our bolt or slide to the rear and visually observe extraction ejection of the round. Number 4, conduct a 3-point safety check. Chamber, magazine well, bolt face. Number 5, allow my bolt or slide to go forward, rotate my selector switch to fire, and take a well-aimed shot. This is an additional safety measure to ensure that my weapon is clear. Now I'm going to lock my bolt or slide to the rear, rotate my selector switch to safe, and now this weapon is ready to be handed off to another individual. Do not hand off any weapon system to another individual unless the bolt or slide is locked to the rear. Feel free to use this for your classes. Thank you from SOFAST.